The Netflix MMA card, headlined by Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, will take place in around 2 months' time on 16th of May. And I just want to talk a little bit about this card today. There's been a lot of talk around this card. Some people are kind of calling it a competitor to the UFC White House card. Bedtime MMA, I think, recently went on Submission Radio, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm so excited about Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry." And I'm just listening to these people. I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Ronda Rousey is 39 years old, hasn't competed in MMA in about 10 years. Gina is 43, hasn't competed in MMA in about since 2007. I think she went on the Jackson podcast and said she hasn't competed in MMA for like about 20 years. And I'm just hearing these people and thinking, are you are you has the UFC really gotten people that jaded that now they are looking at this card and saying, whoa, this is probably a viable competitor to the UFC? Now, if you go down the card, there's Francis Ngannou, who's 40 years old, has literally competed in one MMA fight in about 3 years, 4 years, and Felipe Lins, who's not even really a heavyweight. If you look at his record, was actually a light heavyweight within the UFC. He was actually coming off some wins before he got cut, but he is also 40 years old. If you look at his record, he has wins over Ivan Kutalaba, Max Grisham, Owen Saint. So while these are some recognizable names, this guy really wasn't setting the world on fire while he was in the UFC. And then Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. If anyone remembers Nate Diaz's last MMA outing against Tony Ferguson, the guy can barely move. He got knocked down. He had an abysmal looking boxing match against Jake Paul. Mike Perry also lost a boxing match to Jake Paul. And while he has really made himself the face of bare knuckle boxing, this fight is gonna be a messy looking fight. I can't believe people are, oh man, I can't wait to see 40-year-old Nate Diaz back in the octagon. Dude, Nate Diaz should stay as far away from the octagon as possible. And now I'm seeing Lorenz Larkin versus Jason Jackson. Dude, Lorenz Larkin is should be retired. I think this guy should be at least 40 years old as well. He competed in the UFC for the longest time. I think he has a win over Neil Magny back in the day, or did he lose that fight? I don't know who these people are, to be honest. Who are there any no names here? Nope, he lost to Paul Daly. Yeah, he has a win over Neil Magny. Then he went on to lose to Lima, Paul Daly. These are some known names. Lost to Albert Chubanov back in the day. Beat Santiago Ponzinibbio, the John Howard. These are not bad names, but dude, look at this guy's age, man. He's 39 years old, and he's fighting Jason Jackson, who should not be that old, but he too isn't really in his prime, I would say. 35 years old. Okay, so he's younger than Lorenz. But the point here is, anyone comparing this disgusting card to the UFC White House should be ashamed of himself. And yeah, maybe it's going to get some hype, maybe it's not, I don't know. But a bunch of 40-year-olds fighting each other on this card, just get out of here.